Well, hey, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Full Frontal Living podcast. And today I'm talking about why you can't escape burnout symptoms and a lack of energy. And I think this is a really, really important topic because women just like you are searching the interwebs, trying to discover how they can have more energy, how they can maintain more energy, how they can not have that afternoon slump, and how they can stay out of burnout. But they're not looking for the right solutions. So today we are going to talk about that because, ladies, if you've been listening to me for a while, you know that I have gone through burnout, past version of me. It took me a lot of years to recover. It took me a lot of introspection and discovering that I was the problem. And that's really what I want to say to you. The problem is you. And I know that might be hard to hear, but if you're going to be hanging out with me, you know that I talk all the time about the importance of being personally responsible for what is going on in your life. So I get it. We are all tired. I don't think I need to tell you that the past couple of years were a little bit insane between constantly navigating different rules depending what country you were in, the polarization that was happening around the world, everybody having different opinions, and it seemed like everybody was trying to make everybody else wrong. Dealing with our children who were deeply impacted by everything that was going on in the world. I mean, I would come to work every day, which is, down the hall from my bedroom, and my entire family was home. I kept going because I could. I work online, which meant my business wasn't really impacted, but everybody else in the house was home all the time. It was crazy. We had lots going on with my youngest and moving him out of public school and putting him into private school because online learning, we really discovered that he was struggling with a lot of things. So it's been high stress, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I know if you're listening to this podcast that you are probably a woman who does too much on a daily basis anyways. And then you compound that with everything that's gone on over the past couple of years. And I know that women are tired. And I know you probably have very little bandwidth. And how do I know this? Because the same is true for me. With everything that I've been juggling, and there's a lot going on in my personal life right now, I'm telling you, if I did not have these tools under my belt around how to manage my energy and make sure that I didn't go into burnout, I would be back in that place. But there is no way I am willing to go back into those patterns. I've created too much awareness around them. I've created too many new habits and ways of being with myself that I am unavailable for burnout, exhaustion, overwhelm, perfectionism, and all those things. So here is some uncomfortable truth that you probably don't want to hear, but I'm going to give it to you straight. Until you stop being committed to your burnout story, you will continue to be burnt out, exhausted, overwhelmed, all the things. And what I have noticed is, although women are constantly complaining about this, very few are willing to step into taking responsibility for what needs to change. And in fact, most women, what I'm finding, are very, very committed to overwhelm, exhaustion, overdoing, perfectionism, being overly responsible for everybody, including themselves, but they're not being responsible for the things that would actually create change in their lives. Being in integrity with everybody else. So you are very, very good at keeping promises to everybody else, and you find you probably rarely keep promises to yourself, or not as much as you would like. And you are committed to too much, doing too much, and doing too much of mostly the wrong things, the things that aren't bringing you joy and aren't bringing you fulfillment. And I understand that it is exhausting thinking about, oh, but Lisa, like, where am I going to find the time and the space and the energy to create more energy when I have no energy? I get it. I get it. Slowing down for me was one of the most uncomfortable processes I have ever gone through in my life. I had to battle stories around what I was making rest mean, being lazy, what it would mean to let people down if I started saying no. I had to be ruthless about letting things go, saying no to myself. It was very, very uncomfortable. But if nothing changes for you, nothing will change. And where are you going to be in another 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, a year, if you keep running these patterns of burnout? Are you going to wait every year so that you can get on a plane, go on vacation, and then literally crash and burn when you're on vacation? Do you want to live a mediocre life of just surviving? Because I am here for those of you who want to thrive in your life, and that's going to take work. It's going to feel worse before it feels better. So to create more ease in your life is actually hard at first. And I think a lot of people don't want to admit that or acknowledge it, or perhaps you already know that, and that's why you haven't taken any action. So this week, I was having a session with one of my new therapists, and I'm doing some somatic work to release some trauma that's been stored in my body, because what you might not know is everything that we go through in life, our body kind of creates a blueprint, and it gets locked in our nervous system, and our nervous system impacts our thoughts and our behaviors and our emotions. So I'm getting some somatic work done on some recent trauma that I have experienced in my own household. I say little t trauma, but it was a traumatic moment, and I'm having to work through it. And I spent the hour on her table, ugly crying. I don't really love to ugly cry. Crying is still not a default setting for me, although I have learned to embrace all my emotions, and I know the importance of crying. Crying actually releases stress hormones from your body. It serves a purpose, and pushing it down and not feeling your feelings just means, again, they're trapped in your body, and you're going to have a nervous system response from it. So I spent this hour ugly crying, and I didn't want to go there, and I didn't want to be there, and I didn't want to feel what I was feeling, because it's incredibly painful. It was incredibly painful, and it is still painful. But here's what I want you to know. You will stay trapped in your pain because you're unwilling to face your pain. And what I knew about having that ugly cry, as much as I hated it, I needed to stay with the pain, because emotion is energy in motion, and it needed to leave my body. And I will continue to walk into that pain until I free myself from the pain. But stuffing it down and ignoring it is not going to make it go away. And by the time women come to work with me, they have stuffed down years of pain, trauma, frustration, all the things they haven't wanted to deal with, because a high-performing, ambitious, driven woman, we just get things done. We don't have time to deal with shit like our emotions. We just have to muscle through. And listen, if you have kids, I was talking to a client this week and just acknowledging some of the things that she's gone through in her past. And I said to her, like, how could you have stopped when you had small children that you needed to care for? And now is the time where you get to circle back around and really acknowledge that part of yourself and those emotions that you never felt, because they're like little screaming toddlers. They don't go away unless we acknowledge them and hear what they have to say to us. So working through creating more energy for yourself is like making the decision to get fit and healthy. It is not going to happen by accident. It's going to take you intentionally choosing to make a change in your life. You're going to have to get off the couch. You're going to have to go start to exercise, whatever that may be for you. You'll probably have to change the type of foods you're eating. You're probably going to look at needing to get more rest. It is going to take effort. And initially, it's not going to feel good. So once you get into a workout routine, you'll be like, oh my God, this feels amazing. You'll have so much more energy. You'll have more confidence. You'll have more vitality. But in the beginning, it's going to feel horrible. You're going to feel like a beginner. It's going to be awkward. You're going to be tired. You're going to be sore. But the more you persevere, the more you're going to gain the benefits of having done that workout. And this is the same thing around getting out of this addiction that we have as women to this burnout story. In order to change the burnout story means that you have to be willing to take 100% responsibility for changing that, because nobody is going to do it for you. Nobody is coming to save you. You are not a Disney princess. And if you've listened to me for a while, you know I used to have a Disney princess story about wanting someone to save me, but nobody is going to save you. And until you choose to take responsibility for the fact that you have no energy, that you're overwhelmed all the time, that you're yelling at your kids, that you're not getting the results that you want in your business, that your health and wellness is suffering, that you feel like life is living you instead of you living your life. If you feel like a victim to your circumstances, and what does that look like? You're probably living with a lot of resentment, frustration, and anger at other people, because if they could just get their shit together, then you would probably be okay. But nothing could be further from the truth. So this episode is to invite you into the energy audit, which is open for registration until this Friday. I don't even know what the date is going to be on Friday. Let me check for you. Let me just look at my phone here quickly and give you the date. Till the 19th of May. So just a few more days. We start on Monday. But I'm going to invite you into this program. It is a program where we are going to take action. Now, I'm not adding more to your plate. This is about taking things off your plate, but it is going to require you showing up and doing some of the activities that I'm going to be giving you. We're not just going to be sitting around talking about our problems. We're going to be taking action on changing things in our life to make more space, more room, so that you can prioritize yourself and so you can feel better. Because when you are feeling better, you will make better choices. You will show up as a better human. You will have more energy, vitality, more life, and you will be able to accomplish so much more by doing so much less, right? So to have more energy, we have to break this addiction to overcommitting. And we have to learn what it means to get committed to the things that really matter to you. You have to learn about what it means to have integrity with yourself, keeping promises to yourself as a way of establishing more self-love, more self-worth. And the most important thing, it builds trust in the relationship with yourself. Because if you are constantly breaking promises to yourself, what does that say about the relationship that you're having with you? And why is everybody else so much more important than you are? Why have you prioritized everybody else and put yourself last? No wonder you feel like garbage, because that is exactly how you're treating yourself. Treat everybody else amazing, treat yourself like garbage, and then you wonder why you have no energy. So in this program, we're going to be diving into all different areas of your life, from your physical surroundings to what's going on with your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs, to what is going on with your physical body and how you are showing up for this vehicle that you have been given to do life in. Your most prized possession, right here. How are you showing up for that? Because if you are treating your body poorly, how can you possibly expect to have energy? That's like getting into a luxury car and putting sugar in the gas tank and then wondering why it won't go. Right? We have to put great fuel into our bodies. We have to think amazing thoughts about ourselves. Otherwise, we're constantly leaking our energy. So we're going to have 6 weeks together. We're going to be diving into all of these things, short little actionable tasks that are going to immediately help you feel better. And that's what we want. By the end of 6 weeks, I want you to feel like, oh my God, Lisa, I feel like I can breathe more. I'm feeling better in my skin. I'm feeling more confident in my life. I am getting stuff done. I am sleeping better. I'm having more fun in my life. This is the whole point of this program. So I would love to have you join us. Like I said, registration is open until Friday, May 19th. You can find it at lisacarpenter.ca/energy. So before you zip off and get lost in another podcast or something else in your life, make sure you go over and get yourself registered. I will be waiting for you on the other side. Until then, please listen to this specific episode a couple of times and let the messages land. We must, as women, let go of our addiction to being in this burnout cycle. We have to stop being so committed to this burnout cycle, because it's not going to go away unless we decide we're no longer willing to tolerate that as a pattern in our lives. And that is a you problem. It's not a circumstance problem. It is 100% a you problem. So when you decide to change, that's when you'll break the pattern. That's when you'll have more energy. And that's when you'll start really living your life instead of your life living you. So thanks for joining me for this episode. I look forward to seeing you next week. If you are watching me on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my channel below. If you are listening on your favorite podcast platform, I would so love it if you would leave a review. And if this episode resonated, if you could share it with just one person who you know needs to hear it, you could change somebody's life just by sending them this one episode and allowing them to understand and see a different perspective about burnout and energy. So thanks so much for being here. And remember, the only person that can prioritize you is you. I'll see you on the next episode.